Hello, everyone. Welcome back on a special episode of Football Fan Zone. Pius is missing today as usual. And another.
When your boss is saying as usual, that's not a good sign. Piles, that is not a good sign. Personal branding, brother.
but I mean, like you can get everything out now when the season starts. No excuses, like no excuses.
Yep.
But yeah, man, we have one of the OGs of the shows here back here with us. Salone Dev is here, big Arsenal fan. It's been a long time coming, man. You're supposed to be back for a long time. And if you guys know the history behind this, you might see our comment section and you see the back and forth between Uzo and Salone Dev. So yeah, there's a bit of history there, but we're excited to have you, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You guys are doing an awesome job, right? Your analysis and the topics are always interesting. Like I always make sure, like every day I go to your channel to see something. It's either Uzo's comments or something that needs to be addressed. But yeah, much love, man. I appreciate you, and I just wish more success that you continue to grow, man.
Yeah, thank you for sure. Let's get right into it, man. Let's get right into it. There's not a lot of football going on, but we're getting to preseason and we're starting to ramp up preseason. Let's start with the Arsenal versus Manchester United game. As an Arsenal fan, I'll start with you, Salon Dev. Obviously, you guys won that game. I don't understand the whole penalty business that goes on after the game is won.
Exactly.
That's I don't know, man. I mean, you guys do your thing differently. But yeah, is there anything that you feel like impresses you from? Did you see the game?
I saw, yeah. I watched the game. I watched the game yesterday. I think for me, it was the consistency of how we play now, right? Even though there were a bunch of new faces, right? But it was the same on Arsenal, right? Things were not as effective as we want them to be, but you can see the new kids, like the one-year kid. You can see like he has a good future going on at Arsenal. So like I was impressed in the sense that it was steady, right? There was no drastic shift. It was steady, and you can see what Mikel Arteta is trying to do right here, just trying to like. I always refer to the plug and play system. You have a system where like anybody can come in and do their thing, right? So he's doing a good job in maintaining that. So it was good, but I still believe we still need a striker. I think we need someone who puts balls away, and irrespective of what system we play, we need that out and out striker. That's all. That's what I take from that.
I hear that. And before I come to Chooks, obviously, who's another Arsenal fan. Uzo, I don't know if you saw that game. There's not too much talk about, but from a Manchester United perspective, I think they lost the young kid Leniero to injury. I think also they lost Højlund to injury. Should they be concerned about the performance that they saw yesterday, or it's just preseason?
I wouldn't be too concerned if I was a United fan. I don't think that that's what their team is going to look like when the season starts. I think people look at Arsenal and you can point to 3-4 key players that didn't play, right? And you can say, oh, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is Arsenal have built a very well-rounded squad. I think Salon just spoke to it about plug and play. They have a very effective system, and strategically, they have a lot of depth, which they've accumulated throughout the years. Guys like Jorginho coming in for Rice, you wouldn't say that that's like it's a drop off, but Jorginho is someone who 3-4 years ago was starting for Champions League winning side, was in conversations for one of the best midfield. He won the Euros just 4 years ago. So these are like the kind of depth signings that Mikel Arteta has made throughout the years. You see a guy like Trossard stepping in for Saka, so to say, because he played on that right-hand side. And you can say, like, okay, this is someone who's been doing it in the Premier League year in, year out. Whereas you look at the United side, and when you're missing guys like Bruno, you're missing guys like Mainu, who has become a very important player for them, a guy like Dalot, you're not going to look as good because the guys that are stepping in to replace those guys are not, contrary to the Arsenal side, they're not suited for the same system. They don't do the same things. When United rotate, they almost have to change stylistically. And I think that's really the biggest thing against their recruitment so far is you have so many Frankenstein players from so many different managers that just a simple switch at any point in the game changes the entire style of the team. And I think that that's where you have to give credit to Arteta and the way that he's been able to build the Arsenal squad over the last 4 years. And we're now at a point where if 70% of their team reports for preseason, you can see the same style, you can see the same system. And, as Salone said, it's to a lesser effective, level because they're not at the same output level, but at least stylistically it's similar in that. And that's the key. That's the key for United is they need to get to a point of stylistic consistency where you can put out different names, different age levels, different ability levels, but you know what you're going to see in terms of what the team is trying to do. I know we're going to talk about Chelsea later, but one thing you can't say about Maresca is that he's not trying to instill a stylistic consistency. He's requiring the same things from anybody that's out there. And I think that's always been my blight against this Ten Hag guy is sometimes he overplays to his players' strengths too much. Sometimes you have to force guys to play the way that you want them to play so you can have some type of consistency throughout the entire club. So yeah, credit to Mikel. I think watching the game, it was just like night and day. It's like it just tells you the gulf in class between both clubs. And it's interesting because you go back 2-3 years and United were finishing above Arsenal almost consistently. It was a foregone conclusion they were going to be in the top 4. They were in the Champions League, going to quarterfinals, and it wasn't enough under Ole. You know what I mean? It wasn't enough. They wanted to progress, and 2 years later, the gulf is almost embarrassing. But United are doing things the right way. They are overhauling their squad. So I would say the answer to your question is don't take it too seriously. It's just preseason. Your team will look a lot different, but also you have a long way to go because 1 or 2 injuries and you're right back here. And that's a problem.
Well said. And Chooks, I kind of have like a 2-pronged question for you. Obviously, I think I saw your tweet where you said one of the players you'll be looking out for next season is Martinelli. He had an indifferent season last year, and he's still young, and sometimes we might expect too much of these kids. He came in last night or yesterday, and he did his thing. He got a good goal. How do you feel about his development? And then also, I think my second question is when your team starts to get good, like fans start to fabricate like meaningless things, like trivial things, and they start saying, kids, the coach is not promoting kids to the first team, or this person is supposed to be playing. Why are we losing this guy to this team? Are you concerned about, some of the young talents that you have going to other teams? For example, the Ethan kid that provided the assist, is he someone you feel like needs to get more minutes next season?
Actually funny because we had an argument in one of our group chats about the whole youth thing. I don't know. Some Arsenal fans might not agree with my own perspective, but I'll come to that with Martinelli. I've always loved Martinelli. Someone doesn't score 15 non-penalty goals a season, and just after like a poor season, I would just throw him away. I really think if we do end up getting a midfielder like Fabian Ruiz or Moreno or somebody feels in that position, and our left hand side now is going to have some consistency because last season a lot of people seem to forget that he got injured pretty early and never really had a consistent run of games, combined with the fact that Zinchenko didn't stay fit, Tomiyasu didn't stay fit, Kiwior came in at some point in the season. Then we had Havertz playing the 8. So our whole left-hand side was, pretty much dead. But when I saw, I didn't watch the game. When I saw the highlights, he looked really sharp. Another person too I'm really excited for is Jesus. Full preseason, he had his surgery out the way. We know what Jesus is. But if he can be sharp and play the way he played yesterday, last season we scored 94 goals, right? Without any out-and-out striker. So we need guys like that. And Jesus and Martinelli were pretty much, I don't know, I think they scored four goals each. That's very low contribution. But imagine you have all these guys sharp and ready to go. And as Salone said, the system is there. It's just plug and play. So I don't think we need to go out and get anything that's too extra. There's consistency, even with the kids. I watched the Bournemouth game. The kids are doing, not the level of some of the senior players, but they are very calm on the ball. Another person too that feels like a breath of fresh air is Timber. The guy will go from center back to left back to right back to DM. No, something like that. If we can get him to play consistent games, is going to be interesting. Ultimately, we have different goals than the rest of the top six, because I feel like we're just only focused on City. So anytime I watch us, I'm like, how are we going to? Can we play well enough to win as many games as City? But it was good to see Martinelli get on the score sheets, hit the crossbar, get a few shots. To the youth question, I don't know. I honestly don't have any issue with kids wanting to do what's best for their career. I would never hate on any, like, I saw a lot of our fans doing the whole hate stuff, and players should go. Like, the kids, if this is their own career, some people stay. I always believe, and I always tell Uzo, if you are good, you are going to get into the team. If you are that good, you are going to knock on the door. And also, this isn't 2019 Arsenal where we're barely making top four, and we're looking for, we're looking for kids to come say. It was like the Waniri boy. You can't imagine starting him in a Premier League game consistently. He's going to get slaughtered. He's not there yet, and you have to manage that development. The kids that did go last season were in a title race where players like Eddie and Smith Rowe didn't see minutes. So there's no part for you to come in. You see with Pep too. Even up until last season, that was Foden's first season of playing consistent football. I think Foden is the biggest name out of the academy that has broken into the team. Even the boy that Tottenham wiped, that was Rico Lewis. Remember, he had like 4 straight games, and Kulusevski used the boy to Pep just sent him back into the chamber. I mean, people. I feel like with Arsenal, people want to blow everything out of proportion. Those kids, if they want to stay, they should stay. If they want to go, they should go. But I'm not looking for any. I'm not sitting down here telling you Waniri is going to solve our problems, or maybe that the defender we have heaven, or we have our own Salah. No, I'm not. I'm not looking at that. Or even the Chido boy.
I'm just saying, a London club with Salah coming through. Yeah. Learn your lesson. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Hey. Fiorentina is not
about that.
Fiorentina.
Those kids should go develop. The part is there for them. I think Mikel has shown, if you are good, he's going. You have to earn his trust. He's someone that earning his trust is difficult. And with great manager, it doesn't that apply to. Which great manager comes out and is like, oh, I'm just gonna go and give a bunch of kids all these games. No, so if they want to go, that's fine. If they want to stay, that's still fine. It's not, it's different if you're asking me if Bukayo Saka wants to leave. That's a whole different question. But these are kids, and I think that pisses me off too is a bunch of our fans act like they watch the under 17, under 15 games. Come on, man. You don't watch that. You just saw the guy scored 5 goals. How he scored the 5 goals, you don't know. And now they think, oh, he should start Premiership games. When Eddie break the under 21 England scoring record, and I don't think the guy has been able to crack 10 goals in the EPL. It's not easy to come and put your mark on a team that's trying to get over that hump of. I mean, Adam, you've watched your own team win titles. Did you ever do it with academy products? No, it's not. You need
Actually, yeah.
When
Champions League.
Come on, man. We
have 5 of them. 5 to 6 of them.
Kante and Jorginho we're moving things there, man. But yeah, winning, you can't do that. And to be honest, if you're going to do that, those academy boys had 3 seasons where they were playing the first team. Yeah, our fans need to relax, and rivals, either you come and carry the player or you don't complain. If you don't like how we're doing it,
take it, right?
Make your own faster.
I hear you. So moving on, I know Pius had a question. He sent a question for you, Salone Dev, and he wanted to know your assessment of Arsenal last season. Obviously, we've talked about it a lot, but you, we just would like to see your perspective. Where do you think you guys fell short last year, and what do you think you guys must do this year to win the league? I mean, next season.
So like last year, I was really hopeful compared to the previous year. Last year, I was hopeful because I felt that we had gained some experience of being there, because I've always felt that one of our biggest Achilles heels with Arsenal is like we can't handle pressure. And that goes way back to the Wenger days, right? You put us in front, and then when we're supposed to like perform as expected, we'll falter. That is an Arsenal thing. But when you don't expect us to perform, then we'll break the challenge. So last season, I was really hopeful that we were going to go all the way, and we did things the right way. But for some reason, I think City were the difference, because like there was a time in the table when Liverpool were on top, and people were like, "Oh, Liverpool should be afraid of." I was never scared of Liverpool, because I felt like they've never been in that situation before. I think the last time they did it was like the COVID session, but with them, I was not scared of it. It was always City. So like for me, it was like finding the chink in City's armor, but City, they always deliver. So we've grown and we've come a long way in terms of like what needed to be done. And I feel like this keeps sounding like a broken horse, but I think we need a striker that put the goals away. Like, we're creating the chances. The previous season before, when Odegaard was still finding his feet, they were here and there. But like, I felt like this year, he really came alive. It was really a presence. And, the Kai Havertz role was also, helping us. But like, we always lack that certainty. Like, you create 5 chances, we're going to talk away at least one of them. But like, there were chances when, even early in the season, where we kept faltering. And so when you talk about, okay, my assessment going forward is like, this season for me, I think is a make or break for Arteta in particular, right? He has to win the league, or else he will become the coach that never was, like the Game of Thrones things, the queen that never was. Because like, you can't try to do something 3 times, right? And then you keep failing, and then people are like, oh, we'll give you another chance. Yes, we will, because if people know me, I've been an Arteta fan from day one, because I always felt like Wenger needed to go, and we needed to, go back to square one and, rip the paper and start off well. But now I think we have to pull all the stops, and Arteta is a very meticulous guy. You can see how things are building, right? How he transform our defense, our goalkeeping, our style of play. So with a little bit of luck, because you need that, right? We need to really go with the mindset that we are going to win. We can't just, this season, we cannot approach the race in the sense that we're going to wait for City to falter. If we do that, it's going to be the same thing again. I think we need to believe in ourselves, because right now we have the experience, right? We have a squad depth to match, because like, I think we just got a defender, is it Calfori? His name. So like, you can see like we have like a whole solid defense, that you can rely on. Okay, this is going to happen. And hopefully Partey stays, because I really want him to stay. A midfield of Partey, Rice, and Jorginho, and even to extend Kai Havertz in that middle, that is solid, because that's a very solid and experienced team. And having played for the past 2 seasons, right, they have the experience, and now they know what it takes. I always want to say that they now know what Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva do when they need to win. Those guys need to do that to win. The only chink in our armor is that person that put the ball at the back of the net consistently. For me, my personal opinion, I don't think Jesus is that guy. I don't think he's the guy, because to me, I feel like with Jesus, it's always the thing that, does he want to be a winger? He wants to be a striker, And I remember there was this Brazilian guy, Tim Vickery, who was like a South American BBC correspondent. He said that when we signed Jesus, he said Jesus needs to answer the question if he wants to be a winger, he wants to be a striker. Because if he wants to be a striker, I feel like he should spend more time in that box rather than outside, and then he can deliver. But I'm looking forward that we get some option for number 9, because in Nketiah, hopefully he goes away. Like my man said, with the academy kids, I'm not holding my breath for them. I feel, my opinion about the academy kids is like, I feel like our focus should be about winning something, right? And then you set a standard like, okay, this is what Arsenal has done. So you as an academy kid coming, you have something to aspire to, rather than the fact like, oh, I want to be part of the first team. And if you look at it, the same thing happened with Chelsea when they were winning. The same thing happened with Liverpool when they were winning. The big boys want something first, and then you aspire to. But like, some of our fans always like to run their mouth about, oh, and I would say this, they want that bragging right to say, I saw that kid when he was there first. So therefore, when he makes his big time, people like, I knew about him.
Yeah.
Oh, I know about him. To watch those under 17 games, right? But when they see this thing, they want to be like, yes, I was the first thing to see Saka. I was the first person to see this. But now, I feel like this season we need to go approach this thing like this is our championship. We are going to win it. It's no if, ands, or maybe. We need to have that mindset, or else it's going to be another disappointing season for us.
Yeah, it's going to be an ongoing discussion for sure next season. We'll definitely talk more about that. But I wanted us to talk about Chelsea. Obviously, the 4-1 loss to Celtic. I'll come to Uzo first. But this was around the time that I also met Uzo last season, right? Uzo. So if you remember, the contrast is we were winning a lot of games in preseason. And it was 5-0 against Wrexham. Yeah. Can't remember who else we played. And Chelsea fans were starting to believe. And some of them were even saying, oh, Chelsea might challenge for the title, right? And that time I posed the question. I said, how important really is preseason results? And people were like, oh, preseason results is very important. You have to win in preseason and take the momentum to the league. And so they were trying to defend like Pochettino's winning. And now we're seeing like, the opposite. First game 2-2, the other game 4-1. So Uzo, is it really important? Is the results that important for, preseason games? Should fans like take that very seriously? And I don't mean like if you lose 1-0 or 2-0. If you lose 4-1, is that worrying? Do you think fans should worry about losing in that manner and with that type of performance?
Well, okay, so this is what I said in my group chat, in my Spurs group chat, because we're all obviously laughing at Chelsea because it was funny. The scoreline was funny. Objectively speaking, all of the goals was just like it was comical. You know how I feel about Badiashile, so I try not to laugh too hard. But he did have an absolute horror show, and it's not the first that he's had. And my stocks are worth almost nothing at this point.
Yeah,
I don't even. It's so bad. There's no point selling the stocks because they're not worth anything. So
exactly, just hold on to them, right?
I have to hold. I gotta hold. But this is what I said. Like, if Spurs were playing the same caliber of like competition that Chelsea have been playing in preseason with the same level of intensity, I feel like we too could have had some shocking results, right? So I was like, we probably shouldn't be talking too much because we have been playing kind of like lower tier competition. So, and we're conceding goals to those guys too, by the way. But where it becomes worrying is Chelsea are playing almost an entire starting lineup of actual senior players who are going to be key players in the season. And so that's where I'm like, it's a mixed bag because you want to say it's just preseason. You want to say the results don't matter. You want to say this is a time for managers to try things out and integrate several different pieces in the club. But with a club like Chelsea, what you guys have done that I think is going to be so detrimental to the project that you're trying to build is you bought so many new players that essentially even senior players are needing academy player time to get involved with the team. So then that then pushes the academy further down. So now you have to loan those guys. And whenever they get back to the team, they have to, I don't get the vision. Maybe the vision is long-term. You wouldn't even need an academy. It'll be Strasbourg or whatever RB team you ship them out to, or what was that team? Vitesse. That you guys have to ship all your own army. But maybe that's going to be the long-term plan is those guys will have to start playing Chelsea style of football and getting your players ready for you. But to me, it's just, I'm looking around the pitch and there's barely any kids besides that Tyreek George guy who does look like a talent, to be fair. Everybody else is senior level players who are looking absolutely clueless. And these are the guys that are meant to be trying to incorporate the youngsters in. And that's why I was banging on about continuity at the end of last season. I said, I get that the manager has apparently completely flopped and he hasn't been good, but there's something to be said about not having continuity for 4 or 5 years straight. And you create the kind of atmosphere where I bet you nobody knows what it means to even play for Chelsea in that dressing room. Not the coach, not the backroom staff, not any one of those players. Maybe besides Reece, right? Besides Reece James, probably nobody in the entire club has any idea what it means to play for Chelsea. Not even the ownership or the board. Nobody does. So now you've created a massive identity crisis, and it shows on the pitch because it's not just about X and O. Sometimes the soul of the club matters. Look at a club like Celtic, right? They have an identity, persevering through manager after manager after manager after manager, right? Rodgers handed off to some guy who handed off to Ange, who handed off back to Rodgers, and they're still playing the same way. They're still going after the same targets. They've won the domestic treble like 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years. That's what you call continuity, because something is being held consistent. And I feel like that's not the same with Chelsea. So it is just preseason, but it's very worrying, right? It's very worrying. You have to, I don't know, you start the season off at City or hosting City. I'm not sure who's at home, but your first game of the season is City.
Yeah.
That tells me that your preseason matters more than anybody else. If anybody needs to have a good preseason, it's you. Because if you don't have a good preseason and you start the season off, God forbid, with a hammer, and we're actually, God permitting, I want that to happen. That was a mistake. If you start the season off with a hammer in against City, now all kind of optimism, confidence just gets knocked down a peg, and then you have to start climbing out of that hole again. So I don't know. The manager has a lot of work to do. He has a lot, and it's not like the guys that are coming in are going to be incorporated smoothly, right? The guys that are coming in are guys who either have chemistry issues, in the case of Enzo, with how he's going to get along with the rest of his Black French teammates, or guys that positionally you haven't even found their right position within the club. A guy like Cucurella, okay, is he going to come and invert? Is he going to come and do what he did for Spain? Where are you going to, like, all of these guys are coming in, and it's not like, oh, they're coming in and they already know what's going on. They're coming in to also try to fit into the team. So it looks like you're going to have an extended preseason well into the season, and that means that it's going to be another tough season for you.
To your point, Uzo, I think that should be expected, though. Like, immediately, I was so surprised about the reaction of this guy, like, when we appointed him. Everybody just started saying top 4. I'm like, is there something I don't know? Like, I don't get, like, everybody was just going on and on about, oh, this guy can play, this can do that. I'm like, this goes against everything we know about football, right? I know sometimes football goes south, it's unpredictable, but this goes against everything we know. This is a guy that has barely done anything in a top level club or league. So obviously he's supposed to be expected that the first season shouldn't, I don't, like, people are just, I don't understand how people, and I think,
but do you think the fan base would have wanted that appointment if they knew that this is because that's what I'm saying is, like, this resets your whole, like, what's the goal for next season? It resets that. You're back to the start of last season, and the season.
That's the whole point.
But I don't think the fans really understood that.
They were more focused in getting out Pochettino.
Right.
That was their whole thing. Like, they didn't care. They didn't think too far. As long as in their own mind, they think as long as Pochettino goes, these guys that we have are like world class or whatever, and then whoever comes in just does his magic or doesn't even need to do too much, and they will click. So that's how I was really surprised to see some of the predictions. I saw someone say that Chelsea might challenge. Bro,
challenge for Conference League.
It was like the players have blah blah blah. Yeah, I think it just goes back to the Pochettino hate was really deep. And that goes back to the club as well, like appointing a sports guy, somewhere that's not, is not, the fans can't relate to, the fans can, galvanize. They didn't really, take to that appointment. So I get that. But then it's also worrying because we're starting from scratch, like you said. And this guy's principle is like night and day from what we used to do.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's going to take time. Like, go ahead.
I have a question for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Uzo in one of his posts. It was saying something about how fans, and correct me if I'm wrong, Uzo, maybe it was someone else, but you said something a while back last season, how fans' expectations is always clashing with the reality of what's going on in modern football, right? Like, we have this thing in our head, like, oh, this guy's going to come in and perform wonders. So my question for you, do you think, like, you should give this new guy who's coming in, like a blank piece of paper and do what, for lack of better, was Arteta did? Scratch the whole thing and begin from back and be willing to take 8 or 7, 8, 9.
That's the only way I see. That's the only way this we can succeed. That's the only way. I don't think it's going to happen because Chelsea is not just built that way. The fans are not that way. But that's the only way that we can build any success through the strategy that this new guys
Chelsea went and got a BBL after the wedding dress was already made. It's too late. It does. The wedding dress is already sewn. They shipped it. You can't now go get a BBL. It's too late. You have to go with your figure.
I think you spent quite a lot of money.
So much.
And the thing is, I try to be supportive of the owners, right? But I just don't get it.
Yeah,
we've not even started working. They've gone to annex another buy. Bro, we've not done anything. We've not done anything worthwhile with the first team that you got. You are going to buy another team. How does that even make any sense? They fired the manager. Go ahead.
So they really messed up the initial buys. And me, just like Uzo, I'm soaked in it. How much I love Chelsea being in this position.
Adams, you're in trouble.
Obviously, I would like if people did something against City. The first.
Did you watch the preseason game?
Nah, I don't.
You missed out. You missed out, man. Genuine euphoria. It's
I don't waste my
especially in those ugly ass jerseys as well. Oh man, it was beautiful.
Just Gens are not bad.
They're not bad.
We'll get plenty.
They look bad when you're losing. I'll say that.
But Adams, the point I was trying to make is, even with watching preseason, right? For the most part, I don't think results matter in preseason. You are trying to look for certain things.
Yeah.
But when I looked at it on my phone, I'm seeing the XI for that Celtics game is, if you start there against City, I don't think anybody would be like, what is he doing? That's 9.
Yeah, that's our
the
call.
Keeper, the midfield down is all first team players that can start. Yeah. I mean, when Enzo comes back in the probably he goes in there, Caicedo Price starts. But it's of course. You've spent a good amount of money, so you can't even give anybody a blank sheet. And just like with United fans too, a lot of mainstream Chelsea fans just expect. I remember last season before we played you guys at the Emirates, a lot of the Chelsea fans were they are expecting a result here, and I'm how you people perceiving?
Some of them were on this show, by the way.
How you people perceiving? Are you still in 2012?
I know, right? I know.
I was hearing things like, don't let us score one. Brother, don't let us score. We are coming to the Emirates. So it will take
these guys broke us.
It will take a lot for you guys to get back to that point. But it's not encouraging when you're seeing, you're just seeing. The only clips I've seen of Chelsea's preseason was the Colwill fighting. At least
that was 3 minutes into preseason as well.
Yeah.
But that guy deserves it though. James McLean.
James McLean.
Yeah, because he was saying some nonsense about Declan Rice, so I was off.
Okay, yeah, that's the guy. Okay.
Yes, the guy. I was off for it, but I mean, are you people playing any? I think you people play Madrid this.
Yeah, we play Madrid. I think we play Madrid. Yeah, we play Madrid.
Yeah, maybe that would be a better showing. But as Uzo said,
you think Madrid cares about preseason?
But I mean, just for the morale.
Madrid might send you Endrick and his cousins. That'll be the 11.
You have City the first week, and I caught their own preseason game. Those boys are looking good.
They do look good.
Haaland
looks like he's you know the sad thing with Pep, right? Season after season, they find a new narrative that they need to correct. Yeah. Right? All of a sudden, despite the fact that Haaland was a clear Golden Boots winner in the team that won the league in a dramatic comeback fashion and closed the season as perfect as you've ever seen, he's coming with a chip on his shoulder like he has something to prove.
Yeah.
He literally, in his interview, said, I need to be a better footballer and a better human being.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is like,
that's people like you. That's people like you. That's people like you, man. It's people like you. You guys say he can't play football, so he said
that's next level, man, next level. I mean, I feel Chelsea, you guys, 2 seasons, she just put all hopes away and then build. And I'll say this because, like, of course, I love giving you guys the stick, but like the coach said something about how he's going to stick to a pattern of play and work with that. And I think he needs to. He needs to like block out all the noise, take out all criticism.
I've already seen the second game in. I'm already seeing Chelsea fans talk about flexibility. How can somebody that just got here, that has not even brought his own idea, you're asking flexible?
No, 2 seasons. But I mean, people who are like now saying that Arteta has done well. A couple of seasons ago, they were the same people who were shouting Arteta out. You know, I keep telling them, you guys are not.
It got nasty.
It got nasty. So like,
as Arsenal fan, Salone, tell them those first 2 years.
Oh my goodness!
I did not recognize my club.
No. Maybe I was in it for the battle because, like I said, for me, the Wenger years, we needed to rip the bandage because and that's what I love about Arteta was like we went back to ground zero, right? And it was risky, but it's paying off right now. And I know in this high stakes of big money and finances, people can't they don't want to like do that. And it's the same thing that's happening with United. They don't want to, right? Because like. But you need sometimes after an era, right? You just can't continue with that. Like Chelsea, for example, you guys were blowing away Champions League things and winning. I was being jealous. But in your mind, for you to get back there, you need to like take a couple of steps backwards. If you don't, believe me, it's gonna be a merry-go-round. This will come and go. This will come.
But see, this is my disagreement though with the resetting the culture, right? With Maresca is. I said to Adams, right, I felt like Poch could be a bridge coach where he stabilizes the team. I remember I said this in my first analysis. He stabilizes the team to a point where they're consistently maybe in the top 4 or top 3, but he can't break that barrier, right? And then a good coach comes in after everything's stable and ascends them to the next level where they want to be at. My issue is if 5th, right, he finished 5th, right? No, 6th. If 6th in a cup final and a semifinal is not good enough and he's been removed, it's going to be hard to then justify why regressing is better. You see what I'm saying? You've set the precedent now that in your rebuild, 6th is not good enough. In your rebuild, 6th and a cup final is not good enough for you. I feel like if Arteta got 6th and went to a cup final and went to a semifinal, his rebuild would have been even more tolerable because he was having worse seasons than that. The season after you won the FA Cup, they finished 8th and there was nothing else. 8th, that was it. That was just it. Nothing.
That's
so, and he stayed. So my thing is, if you've set the precedence now that 6th is not good enough, a cup final is not good enough, we have to scrap it and start over, then Maresca is walking into a lion's den because if he then goes and gets 7th and no cup finals, now they're like, oh my God.
No matter what happens next season, Maresca has to stay.
Yeah,
I don't see a way. Like, it makes no sense to let him go. Even if he comes 14th, bro, they have to stay him. Like, bro, that's that.
I would like to see it.
No, yeah.
Personally, I'd like to see it. I don't
14?
Bro, because no, think about it. Think about it.
So you can be prosecuted for that.
Reality, man.
Think about it. They would have hired Potter, sacked him the same season.
Yes.
Hired Frank Lampard. Hired who else there? Hired Pochettino.
Bruno Salto, Lampard. Don't tell my boy Bruno.
That was one game,
man.
Doesn't count.
They were showing his bald head. They say it looks like Pep. Don't try to, Adams. Don't try to do this.
but Uzo, so your point about you don't see anything happening after standard has been set. Picking back on what you said something very important during the start: the identity of a team, right? And that's like you said, players in the Chelsea squad now don't know what it means to play for Chelsea. Now, if you are not going to build that, then it's a waste of time. And that's why I believe that no matter what happens, like you said, even like what's come to us, you're even 14, keep them because they need to know what it means to play for Chelsea. You have a couple of players there for like a season or two, then it starts to build that culture. Then you will grow because human beings were like that.
And the thing about rebuilds is you don't know until you try. Yes. You have to sign Pepe before you know that he's not good. Like most signings are going to happen. People think that it's just going to be Madrid are going to be. It has to happen.
Yeah,
it was actually funny. I feel like Adams is the only different Chelsea fan because if you think about their culture, this is what they do. They spend money and fire managers.
Yes.
I remember Avram Grant
And-
finished
But
what?
that was when we were winning. It was justifiable though. We were winning stuff.
Mid Champions League final. This
They were winning.
guy.
They were winning. Yes, that's the thing. It's different when they were winning because
We
like
were winning, so we
yeah,
could.
they were winning.
Adams.
But that's why I'm saying, like, this ownership now, the ownership has an identity crisis themselves. They don't even know what they're trying to do.
They're trying to follow
Because if you're gonna sack a
Role
manager
model.
after he finishes sixth and goes to a cup final, then I feel like you're setting the precedent that that's not good enough, right? In a rebuild. And that's my point is, if it's now good enough for Maresca to finish seventh or eighth or whatever, then because then the Poch fanboys who are still in the club, because this is what happens when you keep sacking managers.
Yeah.
There's so many different fan bases within your fan base.
Yeah.
So the Poch guys are gonna be like, wait a second.
Those are the most
Our guy-
annoying ones.
Our guy got a final.
I feel like
Our guy got
guys,
six.
they are
What's up
probably
with your guy?
sports fans. These guys are not just fans.
Don't you
There's still Potter fans still now. They still send clips, 6-minute clips of Potter ball. Take me back. Those first 6 games on that Potter. So that's the problem. The ownership needs to have some kind of just stubbornness, stick to itiveness. Whatever your next guy is, right?
Yeah.
And they had enough time to pick Maresca.
That is
They had enough time. Just like they had enough time to pick Poch. Just like they had enough time to pick Potter.
yeah.
So if all this time and you're picking the next guy and you're picking the next guy, if this guy gets sacked, then where do you go from there?
That is true. And Chelsea, I think, unlike other clubs, I don't know if people realize this. Their identity was the owner. It was not the coaches. Ferguson
Right.
was Man United. Wenger was Arsenal. But Ibrahimovic was Chelsea.
Yeah.
Because he set the standard, right? And that's why what Adam said, they were willing, they could change because his policy was like, I'm going to spend the money and win. Win was the thing for us because and people were like, kind of like, they didn't realize that when he left, that was a big as sacking the manager because he was Chelsea. He made Chelsea what it is, and he built the club based on his identity.
He also didn't care about any patterns of
care.
play or inverting.
Yeah.
If your armpit was in the air at the end of the game, that's all that mattered to him. And
Because for you to sack Mourinho, like Wenger, because
he
it's
sacked
Wenger.
Yeah. There's so many managers they sacked that were like, go.
I think the amount of managers sacked at Chelsea, they're actually probably in the top 10 of managers.
But his goal was like, I want to win, and this is how I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're right. Todd and his crew, they need to know what they want to do. And they're going to continue that path or switch to like have a coach and him being the identity of the club. But they need to make a decision. I do agree with that.
Yeah, it looks like we spent more time on Chelsea than even
As
Arsenal.
usual.
That was not my. You guys.
All I know is, Adams, I'll be here for my Poch agenda. Just know. Just know. Y'all get my boy dirty.
Hopefully he doesn't get to that, man.
Y'all get my boy dirty, man.
I hope he doesn't get to that.
How about Spurs? We cannot talk about Spurs.
There's nothing to talk about, man. He knows.
I think it's just steady. We're just steady.
They don't have anything to talk about.
No,
Okay, so
right.
yeah.
Whoa, hold on. J League World Challenge. So we're the only British team so far that has won something. So that's all I'm saying. Start of the season. Apparently, preseason trophies count. If you ask Arsenal fans, so
Really? They count?
yeah, I mean, they said the community shield counts.
Yeah.
So our J League World Challenge Championship. Yeah, man. Trophy drought. What trophy drought?
They need to. What's it called? The sports coach needs to continue with his philosophy, or he's going to end up like being sports again. That's my only advice. If you guys switch, because like he came in with playing, no holds barred football, which was good. Yes, he didn't do well, but he needs to.
Yes, he didn't do well.
But that's the thing. You need to build it though. It's not going to be one season. So this season, if he comes out and
He's not going to get sacked.
if you guys start to be conservative, then it's back to same old Spurs again. I mean, I want you guys to be same old Spurs, but
He won't do that. If you listen to him, he'll rather get sacked. Yeah, and he's not gonna get sacked. So we're stuck
I have a question for Salone. We meet our noisy neighbors pretty early.
Oh yeah.
Do you think we can make it 3 in a row in their home?
Oh, I don't think Spurs is always going to be Spurs.
No chance. No chance.
Spurs is we're going to beat them home and then beat them away again.
No chance. I like that. I love that. I can't wait.
Hey man, Adams, if we make it 3 in a row, you make sure he doesn't escape that episode.
I'll bring it back. You bring it back.
We need Uzo here.
I'm gonna be here for sure. Trust.
Yeah, Uza's always gonna be here. I don't know about you, True.
I sat here when Chooks and the Big Santi were on the episode. I'm not going to. I'm telling you, that game is not going to go the way you think it is.
No. That's a guarantee. I can guarantee you. Oh, also, I told you last season, right? When you were like, oh, maybe it's after the sports, it was going to be sports. That's.
I remember everyone last season too. Everyone last season I had an episode with Uzo. Uzo was actually he always maintained that Spurs were overachieving at that time. So
I told them, and I said that Hurricane left. That was a big miss for them, even though they want to act like it wasn't a big deal. But that guy's a goal scorer. But he needed.
I don't know if anyone that's acting like it wasn't a big deal though.
First people are saying like, oh well, you see, the thing about Spurs again. I think your owner Levy is like that guy. He's special. Huh? I'll just say that because like the way he thinks sometimes are like special. He's special. Yeah, special.
All right, guys, we're going to a new segment of the show. This is actually the debut of this segment. I don't even know what to call this segment, but if you guys want to sponsor this episode, this segment, this would be really nice. Hopefully, it can blow up and become a ritual. Actually, talking about rituals, right? Before I get into that, talking about rituals, we said that every guest that comes on the show, courtesy of Chooks brought up that idea, has to say something nice about the biggest rivals. So, Salone Dev, before you can think about it now. Think about it now.
It doesn't have to be Tottenham. It can be.
No. Yeah. What do you mean? It doesn't have to be.
No. For me,
it absolutely has to be Tottenham.
No, for me,
that's your biggest rival.
You'll be United. I don't hate Tottenham.
It's Tottenham. It's Spurs.
It's Spurs for you, okay?
Just think about it now. Before the end of the show,
okay.
We'll ask you. So on this segment, we'll be reacting to some clips. I hope I picked the right one for the occasion. But I'm going to start with give me a second and put that up. Okay, I'm going to start with this one.
What do you expect? Like, I genuinely don't understand what Arteta sees in happen. Like, I'll wait and I'll let us supporters tell me what Arteta actually seen happen. Because I'm quite confused. Like, where were you? Were you under a brief? Were you speaking? Were you relating? When Kai Havertz was playing for us? The only highlight of Kai Havertz in a Chelsea shirt is the Champions League book. That's it. That is true. Other than that, not gonna tell you about Kai Havertz actually gonna
Do you remember this one? Do you remember this one, Salone?
Oh my God, man. Yeah, man.
Okay, as a quick backstory, this is how we met Salone, right?
Yes.
We posted this video about Kai Havertz just when Kai Havertz got signed, and then he commented something really, really crazy. He said he is going to follow us and save this video, and then prove to us, like after the end of the season, that Kai Havertz was actually the man. So now I'm posing the question back to you, right? You've had a full season, right?
Yeah.
You had a season. Was that the right signing?
Oh yeah, it was definitely the right signing. It was the right signing. And the reason why I always believed in him was because like I have this biasness against German players, right? It's always hard for you to find a crappy, shitty German player because you put them in the right environment. I know it's not a rule, but you put them in the right environment, they will always come good. And I believe that at Chelsea, he had lost, his kind of like will to be happy and play. And with what Arteta was doing at Arsenal, right? I just felt like he is someone who can really, because the reason why I said that was because look at Odegaard, right? He went to Madrid, things didn't go well. He was also being tossed around. Arteta saw him like, look, boy, come, let me greet you. Let me give you the chance to express yourself. And if you look at Kai Havertz, that's what Arteta has done. He keeps backing him. And we know all how we humans are. You keep, putting your arm around people, eventually they'll come good. So like, I knew Arteta was going to do that. And that's why I said I was going to keep that video to show that Kai was the man.
We have to get, I forgot the name of the dude again. Can't remember his name, but we have to get him back.
Yeah, exactly. Just to get him back.
That was a very funny moment. Okay, so another video. Sorry, I'm just getting the hang of Yes, there was a moment yesterday. I don't know if you guys caught this.
What the hell is he doing? Fuck him.
I don't know about you guys, man, but I actually find Onana refreshing. Like like he just makes me laugh, man. That guy is different.
Man,
Yeah, just let's put that one from your game yesterday against Manchester United.
yeah.
Okay, the last one for today. And I mean, it's Arsenal heritage, right? We have an Arsenal fan here, and I had to bring my boy.
How mad it is. The club has existed for over 100 years. I have never taught UCL. Never ever. Even in all those eras where there was World War happening and football was anyhow, you didn't see UCL to talk. You know how mad it is. Hey, I was just driving and thinking, I said, I must make this video now. It's mind blowing. I have never taught UCL. Arsenal fans, now they try. Now they try. I know for you survive. My beautiful club has won 6. Some people never touch 1. Some people come and don't touch 15. Arsenal has not seen 1. Some clubs have not seen 1 UCL. It is meant. That is unbelievable.
Shout out Adika takes for that one. But yeah.
I saw that guy and I saved that video like when we win Champions League, I'm going to post it out for you. Because like you remember like back in the days when we were going through our draft, like, oh, Arsenal will never win any other thing again. And then we won the FA Cup. Oh well, they will never win the league again. You know, of course, you know, in the banter world, they'll keep putting stacks and stacks of things for you to achieve. But like, do I really want us to like really win the Champions League? Yes, but for me, the priority right now is the EPL because
really. So you take winning. If you had to pick one, you pick the EPL.
I'll pick the EPL because like when I banter people and they tell me, oh, you guys have never won Champions League, I stand with my gold EPL cup. You never ever until your grandchildren come, you never win that because, like I said, it's unique. You know, you win that. It's the same thing like being an Olympic champion and setting a world record. You're an Olympic champion for life. Your world record will be broken, right? The Champions League, another club can win it. You can match that achievement. But that unbeaten Gold Cup, my friend, man, that's our only surviving grace right now. So I told that guy, I said, I'm saving this video. We'll chop Champions League one day and I'll come back to you. But for now, my friend, EPL, because it's the progression for me. We get that, and then we're solid, and then Champions League, it's win. I feel it's easier to win it now than back in the days, though. I think back in the days it was hard. Like when Chelsea won it, oh my goodness, it was hard.
Now that they have this new format, though, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
It's hard to win. It's easier now, but back in the day, because like I remember when remember the Chelsea game, the Barcelona game, right, and even the Real Madrid game, man. That was like proper football, man. Like small margins. It was just margins that will win you back. But now I think now you put a good team together, you can go some way. But like give me the EPL first, Adams, and then I'm good. I'll think about Champions League later. We'll come there. EPL we need to. Chelsea can catch us. We need to increase the gap because they're coming close with the number of EPL wins that they can catch us.
No, I don't think we'll be ready in a few seasons. So you guys.
The funniest part of that video was the fact that his seatbelt thing kept beeping every time he said.
That's annoying. That's annoying. Oh my goodness.
Every time the guy said UCL, you hear.
It's annoying. Oh my goodness.
Okay, I think we have time for one more. I don't know if you guys caught this from John Obi Mikel. I'd like to hear you guys.
Their African root.
Yeah.
We've held meetings with these kids, with their parents, and said, listen, you are from Nigeria. Your dad is Nigerian. Your mom is Nigerian. Why don't you present your fatherland, Nigeria? We want to play for England, France, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they wait.
Yes.
And then they keep waiting and keep waiting.
Yeah.
When they get to 25, 26, and they don't get a call up from England, then they call Nigeria. We shouldn't be treated as second options. We are not second options. You should be proud of your African roots. You should be proud to represent your African country. I want the best players to play in Africa. So you rather make a decision and stand by it.
Yeah.
If you decide you want to play for England, stick to it. Sit and wait. If you don't get a call up, you don't get a call up. But don't wait until 29, 30, you've passed your best, whatever it is. Then you're, Nigerian FA, I'm ready to play for you now. No, fuck off, mate. Play is not representing the...
So let me start with Chooks. Chooks, hearing that how does that make you feel? Do you think it makes sense to make a rule? Maybe FIFA makes a rule to say if you have, or if you want to play for one country, you can only play for that country. You can't switch. I don't know how to say it, but like, should there be that rule?
For me, what he's saying is nonsense. One, and it's not really about the rule. It's just being a Nigerian, right, and knowing how football itself works in that country. Like, why would that be your first option? If maybe you are like a Senegalese Brit, I can understand because there's some structure. The same John Mikel that is talking, wasn't he the same one that had to pay flights and accommodation for the Olympic team in 2016 when they had given the Nigerian FA all that money and they squandered it? Or is it not the same Olympics in 20?
Oh, I think you're missing the context though. He's not saying don't play for your best country. He's just saying don't wait and say, okay, I want to play for England. And then when you're like now maybe 30 or 29, when you're obviously not going to get called up by England, you now resort to Nigeria.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying.
The point I'm trying to make is it's not attractive. If it was attractive, why won't you want to play from a young age?
It doesn't mean even if it's not attractive, stick to whatever you say.
Yeah, but see, a lot of international players will still want to play maybe World Cup or AFCON.
No, people that are born in Nigeria don't have that luxury.
Exactly, you don't.
That's not for Nigeria. They can't say when they are 30, okay, now I'm going to go and play for.
The reality though is nobody has that luxury unless you're good enough. So if at 29 they decide to declare for Nigeria, if they're not good enough, they're not going to get called up. If
that's
they're getting called up,
that's not true. Some of them are not good enough, and they still get.
But then that's a problem with the FA. They're good enough for our level. They're
good enough for our level, so they are going to play.
Sorry, Chiefs, keep going.
No, I mean the whole discourse just irritates me because it's not attractive. It's like someone like the guy for Fulham, Robinson. He's American and he's British. That makes sense. Like if you have two different things, you have to pick what is best for your career. If you're someone like Eze, why are you going to attempt
that's not, we're not saying don't play for England. Play for England. We're only saying you know how I think they should do this thing they're doing. You guys probably know better than me. College football, where you pick the college you want to go for. How do you guys say it? Is it you commit? You commit. Yes. When you commit to a country and stick to that country.
But there's transfer. But see, you dig yourself into a hole. There's transfer portals now. If you go to a college and it's not working for you, you can transfer out of it. This is life. You can go to a company that you thought was the best for your career, and 1 year in you realize, okay, I can't advance here. I'm gonna.
But this doesn't work for everyone, though. It doesn't work for everyone.
Adam,
what's his name?
The point is having the option to do it.
But that's not fair for other people. That's not.
Why is it not fair? Because
it has to be something that everybody can do.
Everybody
can change. Everybody can say.
If you have dual citizenship, you can. Yeah, honestly, you can go to a country, get naturalized, and play for them. You don't have to be born there. You don't have to have parents that are from there. We see Joel Embiid. He was neither born in America. His parents aren't from America. He has no American lineage at all. He emigrated here to do a profession. He naturalized as a citizen, and he had the option to play for the U.S. The point is, everybody in life, as long as you have two legs and a brain, you can do this thing. The only difference is, are you good enough to do it, right? If you're not good enough to have the options of two different countries, and one turns you down, you go to the next one, then you're just not good enough for either country. But so a good example now is Fikayo Tomori, right? If Fikayo Tomori tomorrow decides he wants to play for Nigeria and he's eligible, we will call him up because he's better than anything we have right now. If Tosin Adarabioyo decides he wants to play for Nigeria, we will call him up because he's better than anything we have. It's just the simple truth. What we're trying to do here is say, oh, if you're good in your profession, you should come play for the lesser team because of patriotism. There's no patriotism when it comes to your career. This is how they feed their families. People don't realize you actually make money for playing for your nation. It's not for free. You get paid. So why would you not want a better opportunity?
Adams,
play for your country you said you wanted to play for.
Adams,
if you're not good for that country, don't come back and say you want to.
So how about we do this then, Adams?
See,
how about we do this?
everybody-
Tell the Nigerian FA.
You guys
Adams,
don't
hold
want.
on. Adams, tell the Nigerian FA then, right? Instead of focusing on the players, tell the Nigerian FA, stop chasing those players. Why do they not stop chasing them?
That's another discussion.
That is the discussion.
That's another
The point
discussion.
I'm trying
That's the only discussion because they're the ones who have the right to select players.
No, but
Sorry,
so,
Chris.
the points I'm trying
I
to
get too
piggyback-
passionate about this.
I want to piggyback off that pisses me off is the structure of the Nigerian FA too. Like the facilities they have, paying these players on time. Why would I want
That's
to go
not
play?
no, what you guys are doing. Discussion.
Adams, isn't that what factors into when you want to make that decision early? It's like Adams, if you are a Nigerian American, 19, right? Let's say you play for Fulham, you are a decent enough, or you are starting for Fulham, right? And the USA is like, oh hey, we want you to come represent us in the World Cup, and Nigeria comes at the same time. The USA is offering you more money, more luxury, more comfort. Nigeria is like, we're bringing some boys together. People will come. Realistically, which option will you pick at 19?
No, that's the obviously.
No.
I'll pick what's best for my career.
And then let's now say they're like midway through, they're like, oh hey, we don't want you to play right now. You're still young, and then you get to 25 and you've not played international competitions. You are going to fall back to Nigeria, not because you want to play
That
for
shouldn't
them.
be allowed, man.
That shouldn't be allowed.
I'm saying, like, if you had any,
Why do you think it shouldn't be? I want to hear why I
allowed.
don't think
It shouldn't be allowed
allowed.
because everybody can't have that luxury. Like it's only, like you said, it's only for people that have dual nationalities, right?
But anybody can
once you
attain
apply
to
the rule,
nationalities.
It has to be something everybody can do. You can't like it's
Adams,
too
but-
big of an
Adams,
advantage to have.
Adams,
Adams,
but anybody can get to a national. For example,
not everybody
Adams,
has it.
Adams, hold on.
Not
If-
everybody
if-
has it.
Adams, hold on.
Yeah,
Let's say you're a Nigerian in Nigeria, right? And you get into one of those programs, because we all know those programs where you get ballers out of Nigeria into like Eastern Europe, right? You go to Poland, for example. Poland historically not that great national team. You go to Poland, you're playing for one of the Polish clubs. You catch their eyes. You're not a citizen of Poland. Do you know what they'll do if they want you to play for Poland and you're good enough?
they'll naturalize you.
They'll naturalize you and give you citizenship. Anybody can do
That's
it.
even
Anybody.
even those people. It applies to those people too. It's
yeah.
not just people that are born
That's what
abroad.
I'm saying. So anybody
Anybody
can
that
do
has
it.
dual nationalities is an advantage
That's my
that
point.
you should
Anybody can
you
do
should
it
allow
if
them
you're
to
good
pick.
enough. If
But
you're good enough,
The thing is, Adam,
anybody can do it.
I feel like you are missing the point on.
No.
He's specifically talking about Africa.
No.
Playing for an African country, and we know what the problem is, and you are trying to gloss over the problem. There's a reason why people don't pick their African countries as their first choice. If you solve that problem,
And that's
then we can have a
okay.
discussion.
That's okay. Don't pick us as our first option, but
But
stay
stay-
there. That's what I'm saying. Stay there.
Why is FA still chasing
No,
them?
that's okay. We
You're
are
saying,
corrupt.
you're saying
We don't
stay
pay
there.
for our flights.
But
Go and pay for it.
Adams, you're saying stay there. But why is what was the guy's name? Amaju Pinnick or whatever his name was. Why are you still chasing these talents then? Are you telling me right now
No.
Nigeria is not still chasing Fikayo
Amaju-
Tomori or Tosi Adarabioyo or Tammy Abraham? You think we're not
That's
still
what I'm
chasing
saying.
those guys?
That's what I'm saying. Then
We are.
if we want to talk about that, then that's wrong.
I feel like that's
To me, that's the biggest part of the discussion.
problem, as opposed to telling somebody, oh, pick one. If you make it attractive, then you have
You know what?
Let's get
I don't want to
Salone
see.
say.
But-
Let's
but-
give us-
We tend to forget that these guys who are born in US, London, and places, right? They are citizens of those countries, and it's their duty to represent their country. So, like, if they decide to represent their country, that's their decision, and they should stick to it. So, like, I support Adams here. There's nothing wrong with you say you want to play for America, but stick to it, because what happens is when you fall back and use that dual citizen nationality, you're actually having your cake and eat it too, which is unfair to the other Nigerians or other Africans who want to make the national team, but then that space goes to you. So whilst I do agree that, okay, Africa should not be used as a second option, I agree with that. But then when you make your decision, stick to it. Because
That's
it's
what I'm saying.
Stick to your decision. Because
If you are that good, stay there. And then NFF, to you guys' point, NFF, they won't chase after people that said they want to play for England. Leave them.
Because here's another example, right? I had the same argument and I flipped it. If it was war, would you want those guys to leave their citizenship to fight for?
guys are
It's a dual citizen. No, it's a dual thing. Is that because it's a luxury. You want them to choose the luxury part.
That's what I'm
No,
saying. It's
What-
something that
but
only few people have. Yes, you say
to focus on. They're going to choose where it's beneficial for them, which is their country, but it's their responsibility. If you're a born citizen of Britain, it is your responsibility to represent your country. That's their country first off. Okay, you might have African heritage, but you should not use that as an advantage because I failed there. Oh, let me come back and
that's what I'm saying.
Accept them.
That's what I'm saying.
They should not accept them.
I can't disagree more because you know what is being lost in this is this is their profession. This is how they feed their family. Yes. Right? So I feel like when we come to profession, we have to be really careful with the kind of things that we say people should be allowed to do and not to do, right?
Okay.
If you went to law school, right, and you graduated top of your class, top 1%, and now the biggest law firm in America is after you, the biggest law firm in Britain is after you, the biggest law firm in Nigeria is after you. You look at all the salaries, you look at all the benefits.
It is not the same.
No, hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
You will pick the best package that works for you.
Obviously.
Right? Now, if later down the line they rescind the offer, maybe because during that period there's some kind of bias towards you, right? It has nothing to do with your skill. Because I think in the case of guys like Fikayo, right, it has nothing to do with skill. He's better than almost all the other center backs in the United States. He's for sure better than Konsa. I'll say that, right? Let's say for some reason you don't get that move and you then default to your next option. You earned those three options. You earned them by your performance. Now you can decide to pick whichever one you want.
That's job.
As your profession.
First of all,
it's a job. That's what
first of all, this is a reporter. When you are playing, no. When you are playing for your country, do you know that some people don't get paid to play for their countries? Do you know?
And that's
like it's not
agents
to live off. Yeah, they don't pay you.
People know that there are some countries that don't pay people. They see it as an act of
when it comes to Africa.
No. If you check, I don't think I'm not sure. Maybe we should double check. I don't think English players get paid when they play for England. I don't think so. I think the money probably goes to charity or something.
Exactly.
They pay them.
That's their own decision too.
So no, I'm saying like it is not like a job where playing for your country is not like a job where we are going to pay you X amount of money. It's not like club level. That's different. This is almost like you're patriotic to your country. It's a duty. It's not like it's a duty. And I think even if you refuse, it's a duty. It's like a patriotic duty to your nation. It's not like two companies that have nothing. I'm not attached to them in any way. Like it's just an employment. This one is different. So we can't use employment.
Okay, so I have two things to say on this.
Mm-hmm.
Why I feel like they shouldn't put any strict embargo on that is, for one, life is not fair in general. There are people with dual citizenships. It's like if you want to go from any African country to the UK, you need a visa.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way around it. But if you have dual citizenship, that's the luxury you are afforded based on the scenario you were in. That's the honest truth. And you can decide if you want to stay where you want to stay. Not a lot of people have the luxury to go to another country and say, I want to just stay here just because. Someone like Michael Olise, he's Nigerian, French, and British. And you can already tell it's a hard choice for him to pick between France and England because he's looking at it from the footballing aspect. When it comes to now picking your African country, you're not only thinking of the football, you're thinking of all the other things that make it
rightly so. You can do that.
Adam, but that's what I'm saying is if you solve that problem, if I'm a player now, Nigeria calls me, the UK calls me, the first I'm thinking of is, okay, where can I have the most success? Not I'm thinking about how chaotic it's going to be, the quality of where we're staying, the equipment, just the whole general vibe of everything. Which is why I'm always annoyed when Mikel says this thing, because he was in those situations where the Nigerian...
That's even the more reason why he has earned the right to say it.
Exactly, but I'm saying it. What is annoying me is that's what needs to be discussed. Not saying that, pick whatever country.
No, we talk about that. See, I'm sure Mikel has talked about NFF. He talks about that. That one is an unending discussion. Yeah. You never get that one.
That's what pissed me off with that clip, because that is the main discussion. There's no way you can tell somebody with dual citizenship what the person should do with their citizenship.
Also, you know the strange thing, too, right? If these guys end up not defecting to play for Nigeria, right, later in their career, then there's oh, look at this guy. He still won't even play for Nigeria. He's still waiting for England. That will be the discourse online.
Yeah, that's good on him. Like that.
No.
He's like,
No, but I'm saying, what I'm saying is fans will still use that and say, like, even though he's not playing for England, he still won't play for Nigeria. People will still use that as some kind of stone to beat the player with.
No. Now, if it's like a general rule now, if everybody knows that you can only pick.
I'm saying if it's not a rule. Because what Mikel said is, Mikel didn't say there should be a rule. He said fuck off. That's what he told the player. So my thing is, if the player decides to fuck off, they will not say, oh, he's still not patriotic, blah, blah. That's why you didn't play for England. It's toxic. My thing is, we know what the root cause is. If this was a level playing field, we know that more players would obviously elect to play for their homeland, especially players who weren't even born in those countries.
I'll argue that point, like, because
that's what I'm saying.
Salone. Look at all.
You're making an assumption, right? You're making an assumption that if the playing field were level, people will naturally gravitate towards their.
Yes. We have an example.
Because you have an example.
No,
because look at Senegal.
Exactly. Look at France and Senegal.
You know how many Senegalese players are not playing for them?
I said not
right now.
Bro, do you know how many young Senegal's youth setup is one of the best in the world. And all those players.
How many Senegalese players?
Hold on,
Bali. We have those in Nigeria too. We have Iwobi. Iwobi made that decision when he was like 18 or went to play for Nigeria.
So a lot of them.
Bro, when Iwobi was playing for Arsenal, he had a chance. He had a chance too. He had a chance to represent England when he was playing for Arsenal. Look at the guys that are representing England. No, look at the guys that are representing
Iwobi was never close.
Were they as good as Iwobi?
Hold on.
Iwobi was never close to the English team.
Uzo. I'm looking at the Senegalese national team.
In Ketia,
I've seen up to 5 players that were born in France. The Senegalese national team.
The same thing in Nigeria. What are you saying? We have up to 5 of them.
But not to the same level.
Okay, mention those players in Senegal. Are they making the French?
The first one, Edouard Mendy.
Is he making the French team?
Would have been good enough especially when he was at Chelsea.
Okay, Mendy, I can make a case for Iwobi.
No.
Mendy
that won goalie of the year.
He can play the French team.
What has Iwobi ever done?
League.
Okay, so
you're being disingenuous.
Mendy would have gone.
Iwobi was never. Why are you pretending like Iwobi was some talent?
Koulibaly.
Iwobi?
Koulibaly could have. Yeah, I think Koulibaly could have made it into the.
But okay, so guys, here's what you want to also look at. Okay, just because we say okay they have African or Nigerian heritage, right? We're assuming that okay they are really in touch with their roots. Okay, that's an assumption. But how about players who grew up, who are born in those countries, so like maybe they have like a mixed heritage, right? Where they were more in tune to, let's say, for example, the Nigerian side, the American side of things, and the French and side.
I was saying now, people that naturalize as citizens, not people that are born there.
The only few that naturalized though. Iwobi didn't natural. Most of them
are born there. And their country or their home is that country where they were born. So for you,
what's the most popular instance of this, right? Mbappe, right? Where they reached out to the Cameroonian FA, and those ones absolutely fumbled the bag.
Yeah,
right?
That's an exception.
We had Eze in camp. We fumbled the bag. So my thing is like, why are we pretending like
no? That's what I'm saying.
Why are we pretending like
a separate discussion? That's a separate discussion.
It's a primary decision.
A lot of African countries like Senegal, Morocco, they reached out to those players before they even became known. Like Hakimi, Morocco reached out to him when he was like 17. Like he wasn't a big deal. Nigeria, we wait till the person becomes like,
we don't nurture anybody.
Tries to. That's a problem. I agree. That's different.
But see, I hate when we take the symptom and we try to make it the cause. You know what I mean? The issue that Mikel highlighted is a symptom of the disease. It's not the cause. It's not the root cause. The root cause of the disease is the FA.
No.
If you had hold on. I'm not saying it will eliminate it completely. But if your FA is working and you have good structure, then we can all band together and say, no, stay over there.
Yeah.
Right now, I can't say stay over there because I know over here is bad.
Adams, will you tell Eze to now? So someone that clearly wanted to play for
I'm not
Nigeria.
saying.
Adams, so if Eze picks Nigeria, right? You want him to stick to that decision.
Stick to it. Like if you pick whoever you were,
I think
no,
it's
that's
just
your
a
decision, man.
And Uzo, what you said, like,
We used to have this is
Yeah, the
like,
problem-
the world is a global village now. People are normally like you don't where you're born. Hey,
Specifically, the FA is definitely.
no, but you see, but this is like Adam, this is like a Nigerian problem, right? It's a whole. It's not even an African problem. You represent where you were born and representing your heritage. Wait.
So here's an even better example. The Nigerian women's basketball team. Oh my goodness. If you want to really get into the world of sports and patriotism, go look at what happened with the Nigerian women's basketball team and how many prominent WNBA superstars were willing and actually playing for the Nigerian team and pretty much got shunned by the FA. My thing is, the FA is literally sabotaging these people's careers because women like Neka and Chineo Ogumike were good enough to play for the American women's team.
Yeah,
They were MVPs in the American League. And they chose to play for Nigeria, and now they can't play for the
this discussion is not going. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
If you want to address the problem, let's address the root cause.
The root cause is not. You cannot say you can look at it through the point of view of an FA because there's more variables about that. Because, like, for example, the Williams brothers, right? Listen to their stories about how I know one of them played for Ghana. Okay, but let's take the example of the one that's doing well right now. How the parents went through hardship and a priest in what you call it in Spain helped them settle, right? So you can tell that boy is more in tune to Spain than he's in tune to Ghana, and the FA has nothing to do with that. His decision to play for Spain has nothing to do with the Ghanaian FA. It was based on how he saw Spain and how he felt connected to Spain. So it's not, you cannot look at it only through the lens of the FA. The FA is bad, I do agree. But when you make a decision, it's not always going to be about the FA. It's going to be about how you feel connected to the country and your place of heritage. So if you look at it at the FA, then it becomes easy, like, oh, the FA is bad, so people make bad decisions. But there are other cases, and I know there are fringe cases, but there are other cases where people make those decisions because how they feel connected to where they are born rather than where their parents are from. That's a valid argument. So, like,
as you guys can see, we're evenly split on this one. So 2-2. You guys let us know in the comment section. What do you think? Right? Just let us know what you think. I think it was a really great episode, man. Thank you for coming on Salone Dev.
Always, man. It's a pleasure. Any
last words, guys, before we end the episode today?
I really like Kulusevski of Spurs. I think he's a very fantastic player.
You know why he picked Kulusevski, right? Because they think he's an Arsenal fan.
No. Because to me, like, I think most of us here we're in that era, where we like players who take on players. I think he's one of the very few people who still do that in EPL, right? He likes to
when his idol is
oh my goodness. So, like, I was asked to say something nice about Spurs. Like, their style of play. I like their style of play, and I hope the coach continues with that. But other than that, Spurs is always going to be Spurs. I
can't wait for this game.
Please, I'm going to bug you. Like, in the week before, I'll be like, Adams, I need to come on that show.
All right, guys, signing out.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Uzo. Thanks, Jukes. Thanks, Adams. Nice to see you guys again, man.
Good part.